Hello. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of What's on Your Mind. My name is Nimade Belu, or That African Butterfly, as I'm known on social media. And I'm so excited. Today is the first episode of Women's History Month. I have a wonderful guest with me, Nadya by nature. But before we get started, though, I have to tell you that it is the beginning of Do More 24 for Delaware. I am fundraising with the ACLU of Delaware. I've taken a role as an ambassador for them because of their unwavering commitment to civil rights. The ACLU of Delaware prioritizes crucial issues such as voting rights, education equity, justice reform, reproductive freedom, and systemic equality. By supporting this organization, I aim to amplify their efforts in advocating for and protecting these rights for individuals everywhere, but particularly in Delaware. In this time where the rights are increasingly under threat, it's imperative to stand with organizations like the ACLU who are dedicated to defending them. So donations are able to be made from right now, 6 p.m. for 24 hours to 6 p.m. tomorrow. So we are going to include the link below, and also when this is posted, I would be so honored and pleased and proud and happy if you'd please go in and make a donation. My individual goal as an ambassador is to raise $600 within the next 24 hours. So any donations that you could give to this great organization would be helpful. Thank you. All right, and then as I mentioned, I have a wonderful guest with me today to kick off Women's History Month. I have Nadya. She is a highly regarded wellness and lifestyle advocate who specializes in professional health and wellness lifestyle, but from a biblical perspective. Her programs are transformative and provide practical strategies to empower women entrepreneurs to thrive and prioritize their well-being and have fruitful spiritual fulfillment. Thank you so much for joining me today, Nadya.
Thank you.
Oh, and hopefully everyone was able to, I don't know if everyone could hear the music. I was stuttering a little bit because I could hear it. So hopefully you're all able to hear all of that and you're able to hear me fine now. Nadya, would you like to just tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Nadya by nature. I am the Wellness Lifestyle Strategist speaker, and I'm here today. I come to you today with the Shed Plan. That's the name of my company. It's a wellness management company, and I've been in business for as wise as fitness for over 20 years. I've trained the trainers. I enjoy doing what I do for as wise as health and wellness. I am a wellness and health master at these things because I've been through things and I can show you things at the same time.
Yes, you have. And I had the pleasure of meeting her. We met online, but she also spoke. I do trainings for businesses and organizations, and I did Black Mothers Mental Health course for Black Mothers Empower organization here in Delaware. And she was so gracious to join me and give everybody some of her just life experiences and tips. And so it was wonderful having you for that. And I'm excited to continue our conversation.
Thank you. I really enjoyed that time.
So to start off, we kind of just all know like, oh, you should be healthy, you should, do all the things for wellness. But like when you think about it, particularly for the viewpoint of a professional, how does having that balanced diet and regular exercise routine contribute to your overall professional health and wellness?
Well, having a diet would be pretty much because I don't believe the word diet because it's not real. We don't want you to diet because we don't want you to die of the things that you're familiar with, your body's familiar with, because sometimes when you go through a withdrawal, that's it takes away from the whole like health and wellness. Like it takes away from your health when your body continues to deplete itself. Like you don't want it to go down. You want to make the body more healthier by implementing things like nutritional things, and that ways you'll kind of stop with the habits. So instead of just doing a diet and say this is something that I heard that it was required, that was supposed to be healthy. You look more into what is more healthy for you to implement or add into it, so you can create a healthier balance for your lifestyle. It's more important for you to create a balance than you to deplete yourself from the things that your body is familiar with. I have a lot of clients that come in and they want to drop weight immediately. That's like, everybody wants the microwavable thing, but at the same
Right.
time, it's going to start with your mindset so you can have those continuous habits. If you have those good habits, then you'll start doing things naturally. You'll find ways to exercise. You'll find ways to eat better. And those things, of course, it comes with accountability, accountability and more. Like so, we just make sure that we have, those things already implemented, starting from the mind and your emotions, because most people are emotional eaters. And it even not even just emotional eaters, they're most people starve themselves for the most part. If you think about it here lately, since the pandemic, most people are not eating because they're stressed out. And that's why we speak more biblical perspective, because we want you to make sure that you have a different type of balance, which starts with your emotions first and your mindset.
And I think like something that really probably plays into that was when we talk about stress, especially when we're talking about professionals, all of them, women, especially. I know that's your area of expertise, but what are some of the effects of chronic stress on your professional performance?
Oh, for your performance is going to completely swipe you out. I can honestly tell you from the perspective of myself, because I myself went through a stressful issue because I didn't know that I was coming on to some type of rare illness. And that's what we need to learn, is to kind of listen to our body so we can know what's going on with us, so we can kind of like come up with a strategy or a plan to keep moving and keep going. Other than that, then it's going to be pretty hard. So stress itself is going to like take you down drastically. It's not going to help you like get to the next day. You can stress yourself out just trying to work more.
Mm.
Doing more is, it can take a lot of stress out on your body. Doing, like we talked about before, I believe, your 20% for that day is your 100%. If you know that you're already drained and you put in 200 the day before, we want you to recognize that, and that ways your body can create that type of balance. Otherwise, you're going to be stressed. You're not going to be able to move to the next day. You're not going to be able to move through the next level, because your mind is going to continue to bring you down. Your body is made for you to purposely protect you. So, and that's just even just like if they tell you when you go outside, your skin is there to protect you. That's why some people build up different type of immunities and diseases. But at the same time, internally, it's just as effective. If you put stress on your body internally, it eventually wear down your organs and then depletes you from the things you need to be naturally balanced.
Yeah, and I think that often, especially as business owners or just workers, like we get so focused on doing the work and getting things done, and we don't have time for this and we don't have time for that. And like there's the quote with your health that if you don't make the time, you'll have to give it up later trying to fix it. So I know
Mm-hmm.
it's really important to sort of put those things in place to help with your health. And as you mentioned, something that we've talked about before is that,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times when people think balance and consistency, they think they have to give it all every day, all the time. But really, that balance might be 100 one day, 20% one day. And if you're only giving 20%, but that's all you have to give, you're giving 100%.
Right.
And I think that we frequently will feel bad. I know I really had to get myself to that way of thinking. And it's still hard for me sometimes. Like, it's still hard for me not to be like, oh, you're being such a slacker today, but really to just acknowledge and honor, like, hey, this is all I have to give. So this is my 100%, even if my 100%
Mm-hmm.
doesn't look the same every single day.
Correct. Correct. That's true. And not being hard on yourself, trying to make a plan that's unrealistic. We go through 9 levels, and we want to make sure that in that plan, you implement those levels. That includes your environmental health. That includes your or engagement with people, in your surrounding. It's not just necessary that you go from the mindset, because it's a flow to everything in order for you to get to recovery. And then majority of the time, people don't realize we repeat these steps once we increase these levels in our lifestyle. Like, you can come from, like, say for instance, I'm just wanted to give you an example. If you have 100 followers or people who you attend to, and then as you increase in your clients, say for instance now you have 1,000, that's gonna take a load off you. You're giving it more, of you and more information to the people. You have to be equipped with that. So even though I create for you each time, you're going to have to, clear the mind, go back through the process of knowing, what the mental perspective should be, in rebalance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Charles said give 100% of that 75% that you have to give. Yeah, and that's really, the main thing is giving what you're able to give and not comparing yourself to others, or sometimes not even comparing yourself to yourself. I went through some major things in 2022, and I'm still recovering, and I still get frustrated with myself. Like, you could do this before, and this was fine before, and why is this so hard? And I'm constantly like, I want to get back to where I was. And it took a minute to realize that, like, maybe that's not where I am. And maybe I need to either start further back, or maybe it's a new, different version. I have to give myself grace to almost rebuild into that other person. Now, something that's helped me along the way in an area that I know that you speak about is faith, and how your spiritual guidance and faith can really help you. And that's helped me a lot in my journey. How would you say that spiritual fulfillment contributes to resilience, and having a sense of perseverance when we're facing those challenges and I'll call that setbacks?
When you're experiencing death like, issues or chronic issues, even mental issues, you have to have faith. Faith meaning where you have to build up to encourage yourself to get up and find a like a happy space for yourself. Because for the most part, if we wake up with the difficult mindset and the mindset to where nothing's going to go right, it's going to go the way you want it to go. And faith based is something that's not seen. It's heard, something that you created on your own. So say for instance, like, you want to build a better foundation with your community. You have to have faith there. Sometimes it may start out a little bit slow and we get anxious, and that's another thing that we talk really big on. When you are very anxious, and that takes away from the good things that can come to you, because when you have anxiety and you're upset and you're angry for that's not coming, or you haven't seen, it's because you have lack of faith. And when I was really, really sick like that, I had no faith. I was ready to just give up, because I had never been sick like that. Nobody in my family had ever had any health issues, and I was the one who was the health expert that had to have the issues happen to me. But at the same time, looking at that, they gave me more faith to realize that if it were someone else, then they probably would have made it out. Like how?
Mm-hmm.
And so that built me up in my mental and my mind and my emotions from being angry about this rare illness that took over me and consumed me. I had to build a different report for myself and say, hey, look, this is what we're going through, but this is not who we. So that helps define, especially, getting the word from God saying, you are, a part of who he is. And so I started acting like that. I started thinking like that, even on the in the where I was just so angry and desperate to go. It's all in the mind. When your mind starts to deteriorate, the body falls apart.
Mm. How did you get yourself back to that faith from such a dark spot? I think, like you mentioned, people will sometimes get angry or upset and like, why me? Like, I was doing all of the right things. And I'm always fascinated by how they're able to get over that resentment and get back to a place of having that faith and finding encouragement from it instead of feeling angry about it.
Day by day, I actually, vision myself being in a better place. of health and wellness. I wanted to make sure that I was able to leave a legacy. I'm a parent, for my children. You have to find something deeper than you to live for. And what I mean by that, of course, you want to live for yourself, but you want to find a better meaning that, even if it's God, you want to live, say, hey, I want to better, for God and do what he gave us for our purpose, right? But I had to live past that. I couldn't even think about the children because I was in so much pain. So me mentally having to visualize that I was healthy, that I was not even healthy as I was before, but healthier than I ever been. That's what I had to see. I had to come and connect with that. Once you connect with the fact that it's something, because wherever you are, you are your best right now. We
Mm.
look forward to being better people and doing better, faster things at a faster pace. But if you don't realize that you are in a better place than you ever been right now, for as wise as the things you learn, the first, the things that you operate in, utilize that. I use my vision to give me direction. And then when I took the direction, I knew then that, okay, I can do this. And it's gonna be a path and you're gonna go, it's not where you're gonna reach a destination with the direction. You're going on a journey to keep this going for you as a lifestyle. And then the next thing is you start to see the progress. After that, you have no choice but to see the progress, because you've you've seen the vision, you've got the direction that you needed, and you're going to reap the progress, because that's where all the blessings are, is in the faith and the vision.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that visualization is so important. Whether it's just a vision in your mind or also finding people who have been on that journey for you. I
Mm,
talk a lot about social media because I work in social media, but it's so important to open your eyes to people who are either on the journey that you're on or have made it, and also to close
mhm,
your eyes to the people who make you resentful and feel bad because you're not
mm,
in certain places or you don't have what they have. Like,
mm.
you don't have to open yourself up to that. You can open yourself up to people who are making the same choices you are, or people who are where you want to go, and use that as a guidance for yourself with the visuals to move on. And someone was saying you have to have
That's so true.
purpose. Yes, pray on it, pray over it, but most of all, pray through it. Yes, that prayer is
That's right.
vitally important. Now, when we talk about having sort of that purpose and that vision and praying with everything, how do we connect that spiritual belief into decision making and goal setting when we're talking to women entrepreneurs?
When you're talking to women entrepreneurs, um, especially if they haven't had a spiritual walk, it's kind of different for them at the beginning, because they don't even recognize that they still have to have that faith and it have to go through a process. A lot of people, like we said earlier, want that microwavable lifestyle to where these things are already set up. Things set up for you, but there are things that God stored up for you. So all of your gifts and talents, I kind of revealed it to them. I let my clients kind of just talk to me and reveal to me in themselves who they are. Sometimes they don't even realize how much they did or accomplished until we verbally speak it out our mouth. But faith doesn't come by hearing it comes, I mean, it's a lot of faithful tag here. Well, especially entrepreneurs, you do this and you're going to be on top. But if you don't believe in you, then there's no you to even start with, so you can't go through the process. I continue to tell them it's a process to everything that we do and how we do things. We want to make sure that we start with us first and not putting so much on us. Everybody will have their work-life balance, but it's almost unrealistic for you to have work-life balance if you are giving 10% in everything.
Mm. Yes, definitely. And something I love, especially too, about the faith-based community is that it's really supportive, right? Like the more that you get into certain groups, you tend to get a support
Mm-hmm.
and a sense of community and networking, which I think is invaluable for business.
Mm-hmm.
life in general, but also with business, because it helps with collaboration and resource sharing in a way that you may not have even thought about when you're thinking of just like, oh, how am I going to get work? It might be that someone who shares your faith with
That's
you who
right.
does something like that. Oh, did we freeze? Yes.
That is so true.
So in that building, how do you suggest to like your to the people that you coach? Because I do feel that having those conversations and building that network is important, but I'm also really big on being authentic, and I personally don't really like when I feel like people are just trying to sell to me instead of building like a relationship or building, you know, a vibe. So, like, what do you tell your clients, or what suggestions would you give to your clients to build those authentic relationships?
Oh, in real and I starting out with that deep dive conversation and talking to them, basically just letting them just kind of rant and tell their stories, because that's where you get the truth. Or if you start asking, well, give you what you want, but if you just listen, you can hear where they need to be guided, they need help. For the like, I have several clients that they all come in, because they're women entrepreneurs. They think they're on the same level, but for the most part, in reality, nobody is like another person. Somebody can put on the same facade, just like myself, and they still do not deliver the way I deliver. I know for
Mhm.
that I had journey to go. I'm able not only my journey, but a story to keep people going. To keep people understanding that she's not just coaching because she's coaching. This is something that's real to her that she's went through in order to get to the next level. I'm not going to get out here and teach anyone. And I used to be a dance instructor for 30 years. I'm not about to teach anyone how to dance if on a different level if I'm not there. And I think that's where most coaches kind of this is not my business, but those coaches that's up, they go above and beyond as to what they're familiar with, like, or they're just like I remember going to an event, it was domestic violence was talking about. On one side, I can talk about is cancer, because the fearness of wanting to give up, and and of course being a woman. And on domestic violence, I couldn't relate. But then I started thinking about the stories that I hear from the women in my community, or even family members, and I started to the story. So as a coach, you have realistic to your people level, instead of you trying to figure out what they need to do. And the first thing they tell others that, well, that didn't work for me, and I'm sure you see it a lot too.
Mhm. Yeah. No, that's great advice. And I do also want to mention that I know it's kind of cutting in and out. I think you said there might be storms where you are. You're talking to us from Texas, right?
Oh, it must be getting pretty bad.
Yeah, it might be getting it bad. So it's cutting in and out.
Yeah.
So I won't keep you for too much longer, but just a couple more questions. We did have one from Nick. He said, Ms. Nadia, why must we have why must we have to heal our minds before we grow in any areas of our lives? Uh-oh, it might be super frozen now. Okay, it seems like it's a little bit frozen. Hopefully she'll be with us in a moment. I'll start to tackle that question for you though. Oh, and I'm by myself. So I'll start to tackle that question for you though, Nicholas, just with the history that I have um, with mental health and some things that I've learned and courses that I've taught. It's really important because that's really where everything stems from. As she was saying, visualizing your mind really controls a lot of what you do. If you can see it before you do it, that helps. That's why representation matters so much. That's why the content that you take in matters so much, because whether it's your conscious brain or your subconscious brain, everything affects the way that you move through life. That's why there's things like implicit biases, where there's certain things you don't even realize that you have thoughts about because you've taken it in such like a back doorway that you don't realize how much it impacts your daily decisions and your actions. So when we talk about healing our bodies or getting things right with our business, the first step is to sort of get things right with your mind. I talked a little bit about, I had a rough year a couple years ago, and I'm currently on my path to just sort of get things back. And for me, figuring out my mind was really the most important with that. So I first started out with a coach to talk about like my discipline and get that in order and kind of sort of get my mind right. And then now I have like a fitness coach and we're working on that. But really starting with your mind is what's going to keep you going, because that's what you're going to use to go to the next step. That's what you're going to use to push you through those moments when you don't want to. And even your mind, sometimes you have to tell that to be quiet, because your brain is literally set up to keep you comfortable. Like your brain is set up to keep you comfortable and not make you do things that make you uncomfortable. And so if you really want to have change and growth, you have to have that uncomfortableness, which means sometimes you have to push past what even your mind wants to do. There is somebody named Mel Robbins. She has the 5-second rule. I love that rule. Basically, it's whenever you have to do something and you know you have to do it, whether you want to do it or not, you count down from 5 and you just do it. Like you no longer let your brain decide if you're going to do it or if you're not going to do it, because after that time, your brain is going to start to tell you like all the reasons you shouldn't do it or all the reasons you don't have to do it. So if you're like, listen, I have to get out of bed, or I have to work out, or I have to get this thing done, you count down from 5 and you just do it. I implement that a lot. And then I also, on the other side of it, implement the 5-minute rule, which is, and my coach recently helped me with that one on the fitness side as well, which is telling myself I only have to do it for 5 minutes. Because a lot of times once you get started, whether it's work or working out, once you get started, you're like, all right, I might as well finish. So implementing that, sometimes I have to do both. Sometimes it's one or the other, but really knowing within yourself where your hangups are, what's stopping you from achieving your goals, and then figuring out what you can implement to fix that. Hi, I'm glad you're back. I was trying to fill the time a little bit.
I was listening.
No, so their question was, why do we have to heal our minds before we can grow in any area of our lives?
Yes, definitely. Well, we want to heal our minds first because the head started first. God gave us the head first. So look at it. I've been teaching about this for years, but it makes sense that the head was the head for a reason, because I think if we had the foot up top, we wouldn't be able to balance. So in reality, you have the head, and which trickles down to all the different cells and organs that works into your body. So your brain is a big like deal. Like, like if you're failing in your brain, say for instance, you hear about the people who have dementia. What happens with dementia? So when people have dementia, the body just shut down completely because it's affecting their nervous system, which then affect their organs. Not dementia to me is not just remembering things, but it's actually taking a portion of, well, a huge portion of how you collect things. Your knowledge is what's going to take you further. You being able to speak well, you be able to see well, you be able to hear well. Those things are collectively coming from your brain. So if you don't have your mindset right, not just for simple lifestyle tactics, then everything else in your life is going to, give you the tendency to think that you can move forward, but you're only going to go so far. It takes your mind to be clear, and most of us have cluttered minds, because, and I see people always tell me about like cluttered lifestyle in their houses and declutter. That is real. If you don't believe in that, decluttering your area, your environment will help you mentally. And that shows some people that you're going through something. What I like about the mind as well is that when you're something, people are tend to notice because of what you do. If you're agitated, if you have anxiety, you have issues that's going, with your mind, is going to tell you in around you, like a horrible form of, like, a horrible smell, a stench, that you would carry and people around so that you
Yes, absolutely. Well, I thank you so much for
love
oh, the
the
radios.
vibe. I said, it's cutting off again.
It is cutting off again. Yeah, it's going in and out. But I thank you so much for joining me to talk. I'm going to have you again, hopefully storm free, so we can have some more engaging conversation. But just what you shared today on wellness and finding that balance and your spirituality, how it all connects. It's just such great information. So I can't thank you enough for joining me and for your time. If people want to get a hold of you and learn more about the great things you offer, how can they find you?
Nature, and not nature. Yeah, and timing.
All right. Yes, and we'll include the link here as well. But thank you so much again for taking the time to speak with me today. Thank you for all of you who joined and left your comments. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning of this, it is Do More 24 for Delaware, and I am an ambassador for the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union. I am an ambassador, especially for their civil rights campaign and all that they do in that area, and also in the area of reentry. And they help with probation reforms. They just do so much. It's a wonderful organization. So if you can donate within the next 24 hours, it'd be muchly appreciated. You can donate to them or particularly to my website. We have individual goals, and I would really appreciate your support. So thank you all, and we will be back again next Thursday with another great guest for Women's History Month.